Wanderers, welcome to the Wondering Dutchmen podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Love Excavating.
Today's episode is brought to you by Love Excavating. Listen, when we say that we like doing business with local companies, we mean it. Why do local companies matter? Well, local companies donate to youth sports programs. Local companies hire local folks to work for them. Local companies give when civic and nonprofit organizations ask. And we appreciate Love Excavating for doing everything they can do in the community as a local company. The next time you need demolition, land clearing, or hauling done, don't hesitate. Call Love Excavating today, a local company that is deeply ingrained in this community that we call home. The Wondering Dutchmen podcast,
where none of us are Dutch, but we all live in Holland, Indiana. Join us where we talk about what we all wonder about. This is the Wondering Dutchman podcast coming to you from, that's right, Smoker's Lounge.
The Wondering Dutchman.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Wondering Dutchman podcast coming to you from Smoker's Lounge. Today's episode is brought to you by Love Excavating. Little frosty on a Friday here. Today's actual date is January 10th. Chilly, cold, but we're here. The fake fireplace is keeping us warm and toasty. And if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, there's a random man with a beard sitting at the table.
Hey,
I am Esquire, and I'm joined here by the guy that if he didn't have any, he wouldn't have any luck if he didn't have, wait, what, how's it go?
If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have no luck at all.
That's true. Guy's got a loving wife, great kids. It's our buddy, by way of Holland, Indiana, Zachary David Masner.
Hey!
Sitting to his right, wearing the rose-colored glasses, and the turquoise turtle has kind of peeked its way out from a cold winter hibernation. By way of Richmond, Indiana, it is our buddy, David Allen Smoker.
Hello.
And the stranger over there, it's not stranger danger. OG, big fan of the show, has been commenting since day one. He may even be TikTok user 679er that calls us all about the size of a small car.
No, I don't know how to use TikTok.
It is our buddy, friend of the program, glad to be here, interview today, Mike Kramer.
Hey!
Welcome to the show.
Good evening, campers.
I don't even think anybody knows him as Mike.
Well,
like,
Chuck
who the hell's
Norris.
Mike?
Yeah, who's this Mike guy you're talking
Chuck!
about? It's Chuck.
Chuck Norris.
And his shirt says far from normal, and he's got Normal, Illinois on there.
Hell yeah.
I'll be damn.
Chuck, welcome to the program.
Thanks, man.
We thought about having something a little bit different on the Friday just to kind of keep it fresh. We got tired of talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nothing's wrong. Nobody's getting divorced. We're still happy.
Not yet.
Kids didn't do anything wrong.
No, our wives are all in great moods. One's not coming home tonight. The other one's driving for her life. Mine's tucked into bed snoozing. So everything's great.
Great.
Everything's great. Chuck, we brought you on for stories of the olden days. Because every
Olden
time you comment on our YouTube, it's some wild-ass story.
Oh, yeah.
So we're happy to have you. So let's get some of the introductory stuff out. So your name given to you by your parents was obviously Michael Kramer. We're going to call you Chuck. You're a local yokel, right?
Yeah.
Born and raised in?
Born in Vincennes, raised in Huntingburg.
Born in Vincennes. I didn't have that on the bingo card.
Yep. No,
Vincennes is how I got here.
You were born in Vincennes?
No.
Oh.
How I got here.
Oh, that's how you
That's
got
where I
here.
met my bride.
The old Good Sam Hospital, I assume.
Oh, there you go. What?
That would have been the hospital in Vincennes. Maybe it's changed.
Yeah,
names
Good
since.
Samaritan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I went to college, not the hospital.
well, you
I
could
did go to the hospital once.
What happened?
I dropped a mold on my foot off the top of a milling machine. They made me go in there.
Any damage?
Nah. Luckily, for how the skinny as they are, I got pretty tough flippers. Hurt like hell.
I busted my balls on a bicycle. I had to go there one time.
Oh.
No, I've never busted my balls and gone to the hospital.
Doc said, hold your breath. No.
So let's talk about it. You got two boys.
Yep.
Grew up between our ages
Mm-hmm.
because your oldest is he? You just a year above you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
39? And then Jeremy is 35
36.
Sounds about right. I don't know. Is that
ish, 36.
Hard to say.
Oh, you're between their ages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You said they grew up between you two's ages.
No, because so
and I thought you were the
Jeremy
same
would
age.
be like what, an 07?
Yeah, because I graduated in 06.
Yeah. So it'd have been me, or no, it'd have
No.
been Jimmy. Well, Logan, and then it'd have been me, and then Casey,
Esquire.
and then Jeremy. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's where we're
Yeah.
at.
It was and then we all played football together.
I graduated
Casey did.
college for the second time in 07.
No, you're old,
Everybody
Dave.
knows you're an old bastard.
Mm.
Hey, the good news is you're not the oldest one here.
No, sir.
And that's not dig at you, Chuck. Just observation.
Yeah. That's
So,
all right.
So in the area, I always remember you growing up, wild ass hair, maybe a
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota Viking shirt.
Oh yeah,
Because I think you're a Vikings fan, right?
Yep.
huge.
Maybe a Grateful Dead guy.
Not.
No.
I mean,
Big
yes,
time
but-
Notre Dame guy.
Oh, it's true. So you should
Yeah.
be very happy right
Oh,
now.
I don't
yeah.
think there was too many
Right.
tie-dye NotreAme shirts.
Mm-mm.
Probably
Not sure where you're
Mm.
Grateful Dead from here.
I don't know.
Well,
It was a stereotype thing. I
thinking
believe.
back when I grew up in the
Mm.
60s and 70s,
What was it like?
What's your
growing up back-
favorite Grateful Dead song, Casey?
I don't know anything about the Grateful Dead.
I think "Friend of the Devil" is my favorite.
I
One.
like
Everybody
Casey
always
Jones.
says "Ripple," but
Truckin'.
if they say that's a good one.
Trucking. That's a good
Honestly,
one.
the only reason I know that Jerry Garcia is the lead singer is because of Ben and Jerry's Cherry Garcia. No clue other than that.
Wow.
Yeah, Grateful Dead is outside of my wheelhouse.
No, Jerry Garcia also did some stuff with David Grisham,
Mhm.
bluegrass album. Good shit.
Did a bluegrass album.
Oh yeah,
By the way, I listened to Zach Top's first album. It's pretty bluegrassy.
yeah. Big fan of that young feller.
Yeah. So you grew up in the 60s and 70s, I assume here in
Yep.
Du Bois County, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? What was Du Bois County like in the 60s and 70s?
I just small town high school, man. I mean, run around town and not have to worry about.
The
You know.
fuzz.
Yeah, well, no, you worried about
Oh.
the fuzz all the time. We lived next door to the chief of police for a while, so-
Well, that's handy.
Did you live in town?
and the police station was right across the street. Yeah, 6th and Van Buren.
No
You
shit.
grew up in Huntingburg?
Sixth and Van Buren.
said.
Yeah, we moved down here when I started 3rd grade, something like that, I think.
So, but there's a Kramer
Sixth and
claim.
Van Buren. There ain't even no houses at Sixth and Van
Not
Buren
anymore,
now.
no.
Which corner?
6th and Van Buren.
I understand, but there's 4 corners there.
well, it's
where would the house sit?
where Roger Thacker built that
Yeah.
storage
Yep,
building
right there.
right there.
I'll
on
be
that
damned.
corner.
So you grew up 2 blocks from my dad then because they were on 5th and Van
Yeah.
Buren.
Yeah.
Right there.
Sounds like one block.
Well, 1 block, yeah.
Well,
Just doing the math.
So you were on the wrong side of the
What a
track. He
dick.
always said
it
he.
depends on how you
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on the wrong side of tracks because Ron's place is
Well,
on the right
see,
side of
that's-
the track.
See, that
That's
was
the same side as the track.
I lived
John's
on the
place.
border, so I could jump back and forth
You
across,
could.
know.
Did you ever ride trains to Brettsville?
Not to Brettsville.
But you have ridden trains before.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
My dad said that. Did you? No. How? So what year did you graduate high school?
72.
Yeah. So Dad was 78. So
Yeah.
you were a little bit older, but
Yeah.
Dad said they do that shit all the time. They go down the rail yard and jump on them cars and ride them to Brettsville and then wait and hang out up there on the bridge and then jump on another one and ride it back. Like
Yeah.
that's wild to me, man.
Could
That
you
would be
imagine
neat.
if Max came home and he was like,
Where
covered
you
it-
been? You've been gone for 7 days. Well, we went to St. Louis and back.
We rode the
Well,
train.
I did go
Paul.
that far
Did you really?
when I
Unreal.
hitchhiked across America.
Yeah. See, that's where we're getting at. I
Yeah,
want to get
so
that.
Well,
yeah.
we'll keep that in mind. So grow up in Huntingburg, 60s and 70s. Write down Ron's place. Know the area.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't Ron's place then. It was the Busy Bee.
The Busy
And
Bee.
they had
Bowling alley. You still remember the bowling alley? in there?
go-go dancers in there.
Oh,
hell
shit.
yeah.
Do you remember?
Woohoo!
Do you remember the Colonial?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember another one down by the rail yard called the Bloody Bucket?
I do, but
That
that
was
was
before your
kind of
time.
a little bit
Yeah.
before my time.
Yeah.
you
So
know.
my grandpa.
There for a while, they had one across the. You okay there?
Yep.
Smoke?
Wrong pipe on the
Okay.
bush light.
Oh goddamn! Thought he was going down for.
But
Got
across
upset about
from the
them go-go.
Colonial, there was that early 70s. They had one called Rockin' Roberts, which I think Bob Giesler owned too.
I'll be
It was
damned.
across the street.
Huh?
And that was freaking Party Central.
No
down there
shit.
On that corner.
We
Huh.
should start a bar. We should open a bar.
That wouldn't be good for our marriages
Oh, well.
or our health.
If we don't work there,
Well, if you don't work there, what are we just gonna?
We're just gonna fund it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let some other rejects drain us dry.
What do you call that? Seed money? It's
Yeah, we need some seed money.
Private investors.
So riding the train. So you'd only go as far as Brettsville, or you go further riding the trains?
No, well, let's see. There was one time I bought this old pickup, and me and girlfriend were headed to Hemlock,
Yeah.
and I got on the other side of Birdseye, in between there and Eckerty Y, and the truck broke down, and there was a train up on the tracks, and I said, well, we can either hitchhike back into town, or we can go up and get on the train. So we got up
Hell
on the
yeah.
train back into Huntingburg.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But then when I started my hitchhiking ordeal, I jumped the train right there in front of my mom and dad's house and rode it all the way to St. Louis, and then got off there and then went to Sedalia, Missouri. Spent a week or so there for a rock concert, Ozark Mountain
something or another.
Who was playing there
Yeah,
that
no.
you remember?
Well, Ozark Mountain Daredevils and Ted Nugent. That's one of the first times I saw Ted.
That would have been
Ted.
early Ted Nugent.
Oh yeah, it was the Amboy Duke years.
The Who?
Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes.
Never heard of him.
Holy shit.
That's how Ted started out.
Wow.
One of his first bands.
So you said
And,
when the family moved to Huntingburg, you think of the Kramer name being like DuBois County. So is that where originally?
No, we originated from Vincennes.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, my grandpa and stuff was up there.
So Pat's your brother, right?
yeah,
Okay. So you guys all moved to Huntingburg out of Vincennes.
yeah.
I never knew that.
How many of them are there
What?
of you guys? How many
There's
Kramers?
8 of us all together.
8 of us. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Three girls, 5 boys.
Yep.
Well, what's Brad's dad would be
Joe.
brother
Joe.
of yours. Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah,
Brother Joe.
So Joe, you, Pat.
There's me, then my sister Luann,
Mm-hmm.
and then David, Pat, Joe, Mark, and then Kelly and Janet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No shit.
I never knew that.
That's a squad.
That is a squad.
That's a big squad.
So where would you train, like certain cars, or just hop on somewhere?
Box cars, right?
Yeah, I
Just
just hopped in the
Slide door
car.
box cars.
Man, it'd be sweet.
I know.
It's probably a federal offense now.
Yeah, it's huge.
Everything's
Well,
a
it-
federal offense. It was
It
a
was
federal
then.
offense.
It was
Back
then.
then,
against
too.
law back then too, 'cause, the police or the rail authority had their own police,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Do they still?
Yeah. Because whenever
Oh,
I was
yeah.
thinking they did.
think
Oh, yeah.
so.
when Dad worked for Cooper Rail, like if there was ever like a derailment or an accident, he said those guys would come out of nowhere and they're there fast.
I call the feds.
Yeah.
Yep.
So so did you ever get caught train hopping?
No, no, I did hop a train and when after I left the concert out in Missouri, I started hitchhiking out through Kansas, and I hopped a train out there. And you don't want to jump off those trains once they get moving because they're doing 80 mile an hour.
Yeah. Flat.
Flat, yeah.
Flat and open.
It didn't take long to get from point A to B on
Right.
that one,
Right.
So I waited till it stopped.
So let's back up here. Let's go ahead and
Good.
tackle this. Let's go ahead and climb this tree.
Okay.
So what started this whole adventure for Michael Kramer as a young,
What do you mean?
spry gentleman? What started this adventure of this hitchhiking thing? What
I just
what
wanted to-
sparked your candle? What the
I-
hell? How did you just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I
Pretty much.
think
yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk"?
Yep,
No shit. Wow. How old a feller were you when you started?
20.
No shit. And that would have been about 1970.
Well, let's see. It
Four.
was
If you graduated in 72.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you graduated
I-
at 18.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, 74, 75 is whenever you're going to take
He
off.
might have
Yeah,
graduated
I
early.
was-
It might have been 70.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I was 20, but I was going to turn 21 in November, and this was in the summer.
Right.
So 53, yeah, 74.
Yeah.
Buddy I graduated with, Tony Goki, a tattoo guy, gave me a couple of these here. I think
Yeah.
his dad did something similar from Richmond and got
Was he the one that crafted up that beautiful horse on your back?
and the Harley Bar and Shield.
Mm-hmm. You have to see that later.
I think his
Real
old
good-looking
man went to
horse.
California on a train, if I'm not mistaken.
No shit.
Mhm.
Like
So-
legally or ticketed? I mean,
No,
illegally or
no,
like with a
he
ticket?
he just left home and
Got it. Got
because
it.
Richmond's got a bunch of
So how'd that work
Rails.
for you? Did you just tell mom and dad I'm going for?
No,
I
I
didn't say a
left
damn
them a
thing.
note.
Mom and dad
Wow.
headed west.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'll
Unbelievable.
be back later.
So nothing. Just was it like a sense of adventure, or just
Yeah.
in a
pretty
sleepy
much.
town and you just wanted to go see the world?
Yeah. Just to, get out. Let's go down the road and see what
No,
happens.
what's a fella pack when he's 20, hopping on a train, not sure how long he's gonna be gone?
I can't remember. It was a backpack with a
Hell
sleeping
yeah.
bag.
God
You know,
dang.
that's about it.
So you didn't have like the traditional hobo stick with the little
No,
stick and the old pouch hanging on the back,
No.
like the old
No.
So you
shiftless hobo.
So
Yeah,
you
no.
you rode the rail to St. Louis and then Sedalia. You were at Ozarks for the concert. So then
Yeah.
where do we go from Sedalia?
Kansas.
I hitchhiked out through Kansas and into Colorado. Then, I can't. Seems like I was south of Colorado Springs because I came north. And the fun,
We're not gonna hold it against you. It was the 70s.
yeah,
Yeah.
went up and then hit I-80 and went out across there and into San Francisco, up to Oregon, and come back across then through the Dakotas and stuff. across
Holy
I-80.
shit! And you're literally hitchhiking the entire way,
Yeah.
other than the train hops and here and there.
Right. And, it's in Kansas there, I was going to get a little motel room one night, to just get cleaned up and stuff. There's two old ladies running, kind of like these Route 66 motels that you
Yeah,
little-
right,
little
yeah.
mom and pop places.
Yeah.
These two little old ladies said, "Oh, just go up there and take a shower in that one room and stuff, and you'll be all right, and do what you got to do, and we'll see you later." I said, "Well, okay then."
Well-
just different stuff like that would happen.
And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
what we don't grasp probably a little bit
Just
is
a different time.
Well, the interstate wasn't
Yeah.
like what it is
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah,
you would
right.
be doing this on like 231 or Highway
Some of 'em.
64.
When I was going through Kansas, I got picked up by this dude, and he goes, "Do you like to fight?" I said, "No, not really." He goes, "Oh," because I noticed he had a steak knife stuck in between his windshield and the dashboard.
Oh shit.
And he goes, "Yeah, I keep this knife up just in case I get in a fight or something." I thought, okay, I'll get off the end of the block, So, but he lets me out, and then this family comes along and picks me up, and they said, "You're lucky anybody stops and picks you up because there's a state mental hospital up the road here."
oh
I
shit!
said, "I think I just met one of the inmates."
So in your experience
Yeah.
of doing it, I mean, a lot of good
Yeah.
people, like just
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Well, it's funny when I think back about it because on my way to Colorado Springs, up through there, this kid picked me up, and he was going to veterinarian school. Well, years later, here's Jeremy comes along. He's a vet, goes to veterinary school, and then farther down the road up in Oregon or somewhere, I end up in Logan, Oregon or whatever. Here he comes along.
Right
later
on.
I mean, it's just
Coincident,
think
like
that-
yeah.
just shit like that. Holy crap! There was my future ahead of me. I didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
It's like what's that synchronicity type shit?
Oh,
Coincidence.
we're not going to
stuff.
go back down that rabbit hole.
Well, either
we couldn't do it when you had an idea on it.
But I got up around I-80, and this school bus comes along, and just a whole bunch of hippies on there, picking up people as you go along. And I think the people that had the bus was from Detroit or somewhere, but there were people from all over the country. A guy from Great Britain, another guy from, I don't know, Germany or somewhere, And oh well, yeah, that gets better because we get into Reno, Nevada. Well, we get pulled over by the cops, to check for runaways and stuff. And they did end up taking one guy off. He'd AWOL from the Marines.
No shit.
But one of the detectives that was checking us out, his last name was Kramer.
What?
And then, he goes to Vegas and he becomes a cop.
That is wild, man.
It's weird.
It is weird. It's weird as
Shit
hell.
like that happens.
That's wild.
That
That's
is
super
because
cool.
that would have been post-Vietnam era, right?
Oh,
Post-
yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Or right at the end of it.
Mhm.
guys,
Pretty much.
so like, was this the one hippie bus in America that just wasn't loaded down with marijuana or what?
No comment. I don't remember us having anything like that on there offhand, but we might have. I don't know.
What do you think the mattresses were stuffed
Yeah.
with?
Oh,
I don't
God.
know.
So how long did this adventure take to get you back home?
I think it was 3 or 4 months.
Gosh,
I was
that's
gone.
Wasn't that wild, man?
So did you have any contact with like mom and dad along the way, or were you just radio silent for 3 or 4 months?
I called home a couple times and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because like payphones were real
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
They didn't have to
Yeah.
have like smoke signals or anything.
Now, how'd that first conversation back home go?
I can't remember.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to remember.
Yeah.
So were your mom and dad like, strict disciplinarians, or was there like a kind of, I don't want to say like a wild streak, like in a bad way, but kind of this gonna go explore and this that freedom streak where you're like, I'm just gonna go do this, or straight
Yeah.
lay? I mean, were the parents? I mean, I'm sure they were shocked when
Oh yeah.
you left a little note said, "I'll be back."
Hey, Mom, I'll be back in a few months.
Hey, went to go get a lottery ticket, a pack
you know,
of smokes. I'll be back.
I broke it in for the rest of the guys below me. So they had it easier that way.
So that was
They
my
did.
question. Are you the oldest or is Joe
Yeah.
the oldest?
No,
so
I am.
you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. And then who's next?
My sister Luann,
And then,
David, and Pat, and then Joe,
and then,
and
okay.
Pat or Mark.
So some of your siblings would have been born here if you're only in 3rd grade.
Yeah. Kelly and Janet were.
Yeah.
Maybe Joe and Mark. I can't remember for sure.
So now when
Yeah,
you
I
say,
think so.
let me figure this out here. Our friend of the program, Blonde Brush,
Yeah.
that's your niece.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a family affair there.
There you go.
Yeah. See, a lot of connections here. Small
Yeah.
town. Gotta love it.
So we're on this trip, run into a lot of good people. Any close calls? Like
Past the steak knife guy.
Yeah. Past the
past the steak knife guy, yeah.
Well, yeah, there was some characters. This one dude, I think headed up the coast, and he picked me up, and he goes, a lot of times hitchhikers need some money, and we stop up here in this rest area, and I let them hitchhikers make some money, and all the time.
Oh boy, he was looking for a Hummer. wasn't
Yeah,
he,
he was
Chuck?
looking for a date.
Unbelievable.
I got picked up by
Probably a
another-
good looking dude back in the day too, weren't you? Yeah, I bet.
Oh
you were.
yeah, well I was, but
Yeah.
he wasn't.
That's a big old fat slob wearing bibs, probably. What a nasty.
Wait, paint that picture. Gossip.
Yeah. And then I got picked up by another guy later on up the coast. He was part of a group marriage type deal.
Oh, yeah,
like an
a
original
like a polygamous type deal here.
yeah,
huh?
well, it's I guess kind of a commune type.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cult,
that's
whatever.
what I was thinking you were
Something
painting
like
whenever you
that.
said that bus picked you up. I thought they were
Yeah.
going to be like a bunch of Bible beaters
Oh,
singing
no,
Jesus songs and stuff like that. You know, like you see in the movies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
And then I got on the way back. I think I was back either in Utah or Upper Nevada again. I got picked up by these two dudes, and it was like riding in a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah.
You ended up driving because you were the sober one?
No, I was in the back seat. And, yeah,
Just hoping it all worked out.
yeah, it did.
So was the trip back a little quicker than the trip going out?
Yeah, I think so.
Froze? Oh, shit. Mayday. Mayday. Danger. Danger.
Go ahead. There you go,
Look
Dave.
at this. Look, watch this. Ladies and
Professional.
gentlemen, folks at home, if you can't see this, what's happening right now?
Peak athleticism.
David has
Open a frozen one.
breached the floodgates on a frozen Bushti light. right now. It is erupting, and he is trying to ever so athletically prevent the alcohol abuse that's happening.
Oh, just
We
won't
don't need
stop.
the whole goddamn thing.
He's doing great.
It just
ladies
won't
and
stop,
gentlemen.
Dave.
You can
There you go, Dave.
believe it. Oh,
You gotta
the
attack.
cheese
Go-
head koozie
It is
is
soaked.
dripping wet.
Oh no.
Right, we're about
Sounds
throwing
like
the
a-
sin pouch.
Oh God, it's a double whammy here. Folks at home, you've seen it here first.
So when did you finally decide it's time to come home? Like, where was that point where?
Oh yeah, did you run out of money? Did you get homesick? Did you
No,
get a
I-
case of the clap?
I
Did
mean-
something weird happen?
No. No, I just hit San Francisco, went up the coast into Oregon, and then circled back in,
How far? What part of Oregon? Like, how far up did you go? Did you make it like all the way to the corner, or did you?
No,
middle-
it was
middle of the
just
state,
kind of
southern
middle,
style?
about
Yeah.
where I-80 or 90 comes across,
No shit.
and came back.
Isn't that? Oh no, 70 stops in Utah, and then you got to bring the 5 down into Los Angeles. There, that's how we went home.
6,
No,
5.
15?
Oh,
yeah,
15.
yeah, 50.
See, yeah. So that's so there's a lot of road referencing going on. And I noticed, Chuck's always been, with your world traveling and your adventurous type and everything like that. And before the show, we were talking about, and like I was trying to give him the tutorial on how to talk in the mic and everything like that. And he talked about, well, I know my way around the microphone.
he didn't say it like that.
Well, kind of did. That's the way I took it. You know what I mean? But so we're done with our hitchhiking tour.
No, hold on. Time
Okay.
out. So,
All right.
so what was the reunion like when you hit the door on 6th and Van Buren?
Just glad you're back home, I think, safe and sound.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it was probably a letdown. Like 4 months of just like not knowing and like, well, shit, I guess I'll just go to bed.
Go find a job.
Well,
Shit.
Mike's home.
Yeah.
He made it.
Hey, dinner's cold if you want some. Other than that, we don't.
Yeah.
Did your parents know you were coming home? Did you say like, "Hey, I'm on my way back," or just?
I can't remember for sure.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
that's
ago.
wild. I couldn't. My dad
You'd have
would
probably had pretty young siblings at home yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have-
maybe 10.
They didn't have time to worry about.
Yeah.
She had babies to raise and stuff. Yeah.
My dad would have beat the brakes off of me.
Yeah.
That's a different time, though, man. You know what I mean?
Well, a different
Totally
era.
different era. Yeah.
I mean, you were rolling around up there like serial killer, like killer.
that's
area,
kind of what
too.
I was thinking. That had to be like,
Zodiac.
yeah,
killer?
Zodiac time. When you're out there in California and shit like that. I really have my Googler.
Manson was
to
probably out
kinda
there
look-
about then,
look
hanging
it up.
out in
No,
L.A.
Manson was mid 60s, wasn't he?
Oh, was he that?
No. Manson?
Late 60s.
Late 60s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Helter Skelter
But that
was like
was-
69.
That was down around L.A. I went to San Francisco.
Oh, so
Haight
yeah,
Ashbury and all that area.
Did
Right.
San
How did you
Francisco
get
have?
from Reno to San Francisco? It seems like L.A.'d be the first stop.
No,
No, Reno's
in the
northern
northwest part of the state,
of
Okay.
up in
northern
the mountains
Nevada.
there.
When I went out, we took 66 all the way over and through
Get your kid.
Vegas, and then we stopped.
Yeah,
at
that's southern route.
yeah, we stopped at a place called Santa Clarita, which is outside LA, and then we left there and went to Green River, Utah, camped there, and then took 70 all the way back home.
Yeah.
But our trip was 4 days from Brazil, Indiana to Santa Clarita,
Oh,
back to
man.
Brazil. It
Yeah.
was,
Oh, you were that's when you brought your truck back, right? That truck back.
turn and burn.
yep.
So
Yeah.
you get home, the return trip, and like Big Mace was saying, your confidence with the microphone. You were a DJ at the Gaslight.
Well, let him.
Yeah,
What
that's
was
probably
your
not what
job?
next? That
Yeah,
probably
what's your
Oh.
job? You come back from your adventuring and your surely your old man is going to say like, all right, Michael, it's time that you get a job, you damn
Well, I had a job.
bum.
I took a long vacation.
Yeah.
Had plenty
Hell of a job.
days socked up, huh?
Yeah.
Did you have the job when you got back? Just went back like nothing happened?
No.
Oh, that'd have been
No.
that'd have been the best vacation ever. That's Native Americans. We call that a spirit walk.
Yeah.
Dave, we still haven't confirmed if you're Native
We
American.
haven't figured out that I'm
The
not.
jury's
Okay.
still hung.
And you don't want to do the test because you're afraid to be let down.
I took a lot of walk with the spirits, but
Yeah, brother. So where did you Where did you go? What was your job? Do you remember anything?
I think I ended. Yeah, do I remember anything? That's a loaded question.
Yeah,
there.
it is. Sorry,
Uh,
I didn't mean for it to come out
That's
that
all
way.
right. But I think ended up maybe starting to drive a truck and stuff when I got back.
Mm-hmm.
That I believe.
Who are you hauling
Yeah.
for?
I actually where Roger Thacker's place is now.
Yeah.
That used to be a place called Transmobile.
Okay.
They rented trucks and they had other truck line out there, and then they had a place in Huntingburg, and it was called Jasper Furniture Forwarding, and they hauled furniture.
Right.
And I started working there in the warehouse, and then started running around Jasper, Huntingburg, Ferdinand, picking up furniture and
Just
stuff.
local shit.
Yeah. And then finally went out on the road on that for a while and stuff.
So, okay, so now we got all this shit, and you know we'll get into that truck and stuff in a minute. But like Casey said earlier, we were talking off air at the beginning of the show that you were a DJ at the Gaslight. We obviously have a strong relationship with the Gaslight, and this information was never divulged to us.
Yeah,
I
John never let us know
this bomb was kind of dropped in our lap right here. In a
Well, it's not like we got quarter share of the place.
well, goddamn it! I feel like if we're in the trust tree, we need to know these kind of details. I mean, so how did that all shake out? What was that all about?
I just started helping them bartend up there, and then they had the bands going up there at the time, and I'd get up in between the band sets and just spin the records, you know, for the break. And then once the band started back up, then I'd come back down and go back to bartender.
About what time frame was that at? Where was that? 80s, 90s?
Yeah, early 80s probably.
Yeah.
If
So who would have been running the joint at that time?
Oinker.
Oinker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's
So
cool.
when did you get married?
How old are you? 85.
Oh shit.
Got married in 86.
That was probably not a smart move.
No,
He's probably
that's
going to
right.
sleep in the garage whenever this comes out. You mother.
Oh, no.
Go ahead and call her up. We've already
Yeah,
called
yeah,
one
yeah.
wife tonight.
It's, no.
Oh baby, these things are going to pop.
I think there's another one that's down
there
in the
another one
bottom.
down there that's not
bottom.
frozen?
There you go.
So so you got married 84, 85. So you've been back.
85 is his place.
So you've been back
9 years.
9 years roughly in that time period. So you just drive.
Established driver. Been doing some DJing. You know, at the
Yeah.
Gaslight, hanging around Huntingburg.
So when Jimmy
Yeah,
came
working
along, that's when you
trucking.
really started going over the road. That's probably a smart move. Just get the hell out.
No,
of
I mean, I was over the road before then, but yeah, I kind of went. I worked at Steinkamp's for a while.
Hmm. Well, I mean, there's no real. I mean, we're really not
Another
writing
Corey.
the book,
Yeah,
or this is
right.
not like a real
But-
job interview. or
Nobody's
anything.
going to fact check this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
like-
done it in over 2 years.
We're not going to
But-
vet anything.
Yeah, I started driving truck again. And
So
went back
you-
out on the road.
You and your brother, are you a 1,000,000-mile trucker?
Oh, I'm probably yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Yes.
your brother,
We used to run California and back,
I was going to say, and then
No.
did you team
All over.
drive or were you just by yourself?
mostly by myself. I did team drive a little bit, and I didn't much care for it.
Right.
just
Yeah.
because
Probably
the way
never
I-
knew who you were going to get stuck with, or
Well,
if he had his ways
I-
and you had yours,
Probably
or
less
whatever.
money.
Well, that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
that too, and then but there was a couple guys that I got along with, all right, you know, but it just the way I would want to drive is I go until I get tired and
Pull over and take a
pull over,
nap.
take a nap, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But and
Did you used to keep 2
Because-
sets of logbooks? Yeah.
What's
I'm
the
the son-
statute on limitations
I'm
on
the son
that?
of a truck driver. I know the stories when they
oh yeah,
turn and burn and run like they do.
2, 3, 4, whatever you could get by with.
That's
and,
what.
and remember which one's supposed to be right.
No shit.
So were you hauling furniture then the entire time?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So because Pat started with Best almost when they
well,
kind of started.
he
right?
started out at Transmobile too, where I was at.
Yeah,
That's where he got a start too.
yeah. What?
So,
Because Dad
yeah,
used to haul
Mark.
for DMI.
Who?
My dad.
Oh yeah.
yeah. He used to drive for DMI, so he'd share some of them stories of
Yeah.
out on the road.
Now, with your youthful exploration, did you pick up hitchhikers much? Did you see many? How'd that work?
A couple times.
Yeah.
Not too often, but
Any interesting stories there? Just nerds trying to get.
There was a guy that got on and had
Yeah.
a steak knife and asked me if I'd like a fight. Son of a bitch, it was 10 years later.
Shit. So
Yeah.
you go to work for Transmobile, and then where is that? Who you started driving over the road for? Then they had over the road routes as well?
yeah.
And then predominantly you were just shooting to California, or did you ever go east or anywhere? Or
Yeah.
all over.
I pretty much covered the whole United States.
What was your favorite run? Like
I
if you
kind
got
of like the Midwest, but I did like going out through New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas.
Mhm.
But I liked running Michigan and Wisconsin a lot because you got up there and it was like being down here. There was a bar on every other corner.
Yeah. Right.
Or out in the middle of the woods
hell
in
yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
You'd be out there and all of a sudden you see these lights going through the woods. And what the heck's going on? It's snowmobiles, going to the bar out in the middle of the woods somewhere.
Well, and I think the cool thing, like Dad talked about it, some of those trips up there, like guys would go, they'd bring back delicious, kind of like our connection brings
Yeah.
back them little
Danishes.
Danish treats. But
Kringles.
you bring
Kringles.
back summer sausage and stuff like
yeah,
that.
well, you go to Florida, you bring back oranges,
Yeah.
or you
Yeah.
stop in Atlanta and get pecans and
Yep.
Yeah.
and, just different stuff like that.
Now, Brother Casey, I'm going to interrupt the conversation real quick. Can you reach over and turn that to 1? I feel like it's getting chilly in here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am too. The
Yeah,
fire.
maybe it's just because we're
just
just
air or something blowing around.
yeah.
But,
That'd be fine. It should fire up there if you get it to
Want to
1.
reload the pellet basket?
Yeah, I can do that.
So
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
You ask
No,
the
you
question.
go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Boy.
I forgot my question.
So you were saying that the truck stops with the video gaming centers and everything like that, like it's just totally different. The truck stop world now versus like if
Oh.
you were going to go out and visit Logan and you're probably going to
yeah,
take
they're
some
more
of your-
like oversized convenience stores.
That's what I'm
anymore.
saying. You're going to
years
take
ago is mom and pop type stuff or actual truck stops where they had restaurants and stuff like this. Now anymore it's just all fast food stuff,
exactly.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Did they have when you were doing? I don't, and this is not this is not an old
Yeah,
jab,
no, that's
because
all
you are old. But were there like
yeah,
chain truck stops, or was that more of like
Yeah.
so in the latter part of your trucking career, like the TAs, the Loves,
Yeah,
the
you had-
pilots? Like
you had-
when did they start?
well, you had TAs and you had 76 truck stops. They
Yeah.
were big.
Yeah,
That was the biggest ones. The orange
Is
balls in the sky.
Petro, is that a chain? Or is that just a big
That's
one back
that's
home?
part of Truck Stops of America. TAs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Petro's where we always
I
went to
think
the
they
Iron
were separate
Skillet
at
back
one
home.
time, but I think they're together
Okay.
now. They're all one.
now the Iron Skillet, is that a Chinese place?
No, that's a goddamn buffet. Damn,
that's-
fine. And you get a steak there. I mean, it's damn fine.
That's the restaurant in the Petros
Mhm.
and stuff. It's called.
Huh. So
But
when you say mom and pop stops, I mean it's the same thing. Like you stop in. Like how did your stops usually shake out? Did you ever pack your own shit and have like a little hot plate in your sleeper or anything like
No.
that? Or
no,
you were just living on the road, like just going in, taking advantage of their amenities and
yeah.
get you a
'Cause-
nap and hammer down.
Back when I started, we had cab overs, and so you didn't have a whole bunch of room in there,
Right.
and not like today's trucks where you can stand up out of the
Yeah,
seat and walk into the sleeper or whatever.
right.
But
What kind
was-
of truck did you
Yeah,
drive?
that was going to be my question.
mostly internationals.
Was that your favorite one?
Well, that was
Mostly what he drove.
That's what.
Okay.
That's what
That's what
was
they gave him.
available. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they
right.
gave him.
Right.
It was that or the old Converse.
Touche.
I'd driven Fords, Max. I never really drove a Peterbilt. A Kenworth a little bit, but it was another guy's, and I just kind of went to pick something up with it or whatever. But
So
Volvos.
back in the day, what was like a favorite truck stop that if you were running that route, you were stopping?
Guaranteed. Even if you even if you didn't need a nap, like if you were on the route and there was one that just I cannot drive by this son of a buck without stopping. Were there any of them?
Maybe probably the kind of famous one was Bud's truck stop on the south side of Indy.
Okay.
Is that right there where
It was-
37 and 465 are now?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in the northwest corner there. I think used to be I don't know if it's still there because they redid all that up there. But
Yeah.
there was a Mr. Fuel up there.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Bud's was. It was a dive, but it had a restaurant and some fuel islands, but the lot was all rock and stuff, and that was where the local hookers hung out.
I was going to say there.
All
Well, there is
stuff like that,
There is a strip club on that northwest corner.
yeah,
Too.
yeah,
Or, I don't know if it was there then, but it's there now.
yeah. That was a whole nother ball game too.
was that right?
That because a lot of the truck stops, there was hookers running around in them all the time. That was entertaining, just watching them run around.
I could
back and
only
forth
imagine.
and
Like
stuff,
I know it's
sometimes.
probably a hell of a lot more regulated now and everything, and whatever they always say.
There's still a lot lizard.
I know,
TikToks.
but if you see if they always say if you see a hot hooker, if you ever see a hot hooker, 9 times out of 10 it's a cop. You know what I mean? Like you don't ever want to go after the hot ones because then they're cops. But I could only imagine being because you're a married man by this point,
No.
Okay.
Well, this
All
was
right.
early
Okay.
in my trucking days.
right? But let's just say,
Still.
I'm not trying to say that's. Let's just say you were a married man by this time, and
Okay.
you're not going to participate
No.
in any of the services that they were providing. But just being able to like watch those transactions transpire, I think the people watching would have been
Oh yeah. it
on
was.
point at
You-
these
you
at
could
these kind of
tell
places.
Sometimes when the cops would be in the neighborhood, they'd be running in between trucks, looking back and forth, and stuff. Or-
Ducking and diving.
Or there was going from up 65 out of India to Chicago. So there was a couple rest areas that you could pull into, but they didn't have restrooms
Any
and
facilities,
stuff
just
like
a
that,
spot. Oh, yeah, spot to park.
And
Yeah.
there was one up there. The girls had their own little motorhome that they worked out of,
No
and
shit.
a lot of times when you pulled in on the ramp, before you could even get stopped, they were jumping up on the side rails. Hey, need a date? No, thank you. I'm moving on.
Oh wow!
So the
Just different wild stuff like that.
I wonder what the
back
going rate for a Hummer was back in them days.
oh Jesus,
I mean, obviously
Can't
Chuck
remember.
never knew,
No,
but I
Can't
just
remember.
that's a wild deal.
they actually handed you like a menu. There was a menu. There was a
Yeah.
menu there.
then.
You, a la carte
Unbelievable.
for all of it. A la carte.
This Pause for the Cause is brought to you by Love Excavating. Have big plans in 2025 for constructing a new home, a garage, or that shop you've always wanted? Is your potential build site less than ready for that building? Well, the good news is Love Excavating can handle it. Just earlier in December, Love Excavating was in action preparing a future home site just off Highway 64 by the Holland Junction. Love Excavating is your go-to when it comes to land clearing, site prep, and then any hauling that needs to be done. Trust the professionals with the experience at Love Excavating for your next building site.
Any close calls, like people? Because back in the day, you didn't have like the credit cards and the stuff you do now. You carried a lot of
Yeah.
cash. Guys used to get robbed. Some may have carried sawed-offs under their seats. And
Yeah.
Any close calls like that?
Not that I remember. I got pretty lucky, that nothing really like that happened or anything. But
And you drove truck how
What
long?
time?
pretty much, I'm going to say probably 50 years.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
are you retired now?
Yeah. I mean, I did construction work in between in some things, but for the most I always drove something.
Yeah.
So
That's a wild.
That is
wild
crazy.
deal.
You still have your CDL, or did you let it?
yeah.
Do you?
Still got it, yeah.
Dad, I think he let his lapse finally.
Yeah.
Because he was grandfathered in way back in.
Yeah. Me
That's
too.
another question we kind of didn't get into is, when you got started nowadays, they send you to these driving schools, which if you look into the cabs of some of them trucks, you don't know how they got a CDL because they weren't even in the
Exactly.
United States
Well,
last week.
we
could
we
tell
call
you
them
stories.
flip-flop drivers because they get out, they don't have work boots on, they got flip-flops on. How are you going to kick your tires with flip-flops on?
You're
Stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's-
point.
It
Flip-flop
would-
drivers.
It would blow your mind how many people, like up there on 11th Street, Master Brand,
Yeah. Yeah.
between 231 and Chestnut, where all them drivers come in and out, about 950 of them a day. And you can see the ones like the old school guys that basically look like you, usually they're all white haired fellers have been driving forever. They'll back them in. They'll have them big old, 800-foot long sleeper cab Kenworths and all that stuff. And they'll hit them in there in one shot. You know what I mean? Hit their brakes and they're good to go.
That's
And
how
then-
I first started, was running around Huntingburg and Jasper. And back then I had to learn to back because you had train cars, you
Oh,
had
yeah.
telephone poles, you had other
Everything.
trucks in
Yeah.
the
Well,
way,
sure.
And
And
you
now you
had to
get,
learn back both ways.
we'll be up
So-
there or, just in traffic. Sometimes if Chestnut or if there's a train or whatever, we'll shoot up 11th. And there'll be times where we were crack sealing up there one day. And I shit you not, this he may or may not have had some sort of tapestry affixed to his head in like some sort of a woven fashion. It kind of resembled a basket, but upside down. And I guarantee you, Chuck, I bet he pulled up 13, 15 times. And I'm talking but he'd never pull up far enough. Like he'd never pull up far enough to get his
straight
trailer
out,
square to where he'd actually have a good shot at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he wasn't.
I think I heard something in the driveway. I got to check on.
Oh God! I was really on one,
Yeah, keep going.
Well, I know.
but it just blows my mind.
I used to get a good laugh, towards the end of my driving career, watching some of these guys just come into the truck stop trying to back into an open spot.
Right.
I was up at Terre Haute one day, and this guy was trying to back in to this spot, and he was banging into the big concrete pillars by the scale and stuff, and not banging hard, but he'd bump it,
Yeah.
So I don't know how long this went on. Finally, this guy, I think in a six-wheeler, he moved out of a spot where all this guy had to do was pull up and back straight in. It took him another 20 minutes to half an hour to get into that spot.
So a buddy of mine,
God dang.
a buddy of mine used to work at this factory that I'm talking about on 11th Street, and he was a fork truck driver, and they would always unload the like whenever the flat decks come in, the skateboards would come in, and they'd have this yellow block painted underneath. They put it on a roof now, and it would just like pallets of banding and shit like that, that they would fridge panels and all this stuff, and they would try to get them jimmied around, and he'd just sit there and watch them fail, and he would.
Well,
there was times where they would actually come out and say, "Hey, can you back this in?" And like he would get in their truck and back the son of a bitch in there for him because they just physically couldn't do it.
Well, and you hear so many
Yeah.
horror stories of guys that go to get their CDL and they get failed for these little things.
well,
And you're wondering how these guys,
I know.
because there's no way they got the GPS up there.
It's wild.
And them guys, and God bless my father, there was always a road atlas. He's got one
Yeah.
that sits by his chair now.
I still have a map
Yeah.
in my pickup.
Yeah, and
You
it's amazing.
they-
It's a lost art. It
they-
really is.
They don't realize, that GPS is good, but it's just another tool that you got to use. You can't just use that. I don't know how many times mine when I used it, finally got one. I just use it as a reference. I pretty much knew where I had to go, but I just gave me a time frame on when I was going to get there.
Right. Yeah. Because
And
it had that estimated arrival time.
I knew
and all that
where
shit.
I was going on my 2 lanes and stuff. Invariably, it'd want to send me down a rock road for no apparent reason,
North Cherry. You know where Oinker lives now?
Yeah,
In the roundhouse. And you go up North Cherry, and where North Cherry and 10th meet together, the mud road. Remember, the mud road where Rupel damn near flipped his truck over and it sat there for a month? You remember that? I shit you not, this summer, another one of them basket-wearing truck drivers, he had that summit all the way to the railroad tracks in the bottoms, and that was buried to the fuel tanks. And Mike Hof, guy from Hof Equipment, had to come up with a big old articulating 4-wheel drive tractor and drug that son of a bitch trailer and tractor all up backwards up out of that hole all himself. And this is a mud road with water standing in the ruts. And this guy is driving a 53-foot semi van trailer and tractor trailer, and he's going down this dirt mud road. Now tell me, how in the world do you think that's going to work?
You don't know how to back up. We already covered that.
Well,
All you gotta do is go forward.
Well, when you're already buried deep,
but the thing is you can see a quarter mile. You can see 2 miles straight ahead.
But I'm saying, how tight is it getting to that?
Wide open 2-lane road.
Okay. Well, if they can't hit a daggone dock, I figure he ain't going to back it down the road.
Well, this fella, the same thing. He was just, he probably got lost, and then it says redirecting route.
Right.
And then it just shot him straight down that mud road to kick it over to 22nd Street and get back on 231. But there's we got to figuring, even if that road was popcorn fart dry,
not a chance.
Not a chance of getting over them railroad tracks. He'd have high centered for sure. His dollies would have drug, and there he would have sat right there on that freaking railroad track.
I was coming back down from Indianapolis one night, and I met this guy going north, and he hollered at me on the CB. He goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of Jupiter, Indiana?" I said, "No, never heard of Jupiter." And he goes, "Oh, no, Jasper." I said, "Yeah, I think I met him up around Crane, somewhere in that neighborhood."
Right.
And I said, "No." I said, "Jasper's
behind you,
back that way." And he goes, "Really? I came off the interstate down there." I said, "You went right through Jasper?" "No way." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Get turned around, come straight back down 231. And I stopped at Lagodi, and he caught up with me. So I followed him back into Jasper, and we get in Jasper, and he said something about he was looking for, I think, one of the Kimball plants or something, I said, "Yeah, there's Jasper this, Jasper that, Jasper that." Wow, I didn't even notice that.
We had a guy the other day. He was in a big sleeper berth truck, and he was on 231 right there between First Avenue and First Street by the Southside Dollar Store, sitting on the park. He shut her down right in the turn lane. Just graveyard dead right there in the highway. Just shut her down, throw the flashlight.
Jerry Cloud.
That's a good spot.
Put the flashers on.
I think I saw that.
And I seen him, and we were turning on First Street to go down towards the park, hauling something down there to the limb yard, and we see the truck, but there's no driver in it. And I thought, what the hell? And then we see this feller walking down First Street with a clipboard in his hand, and I thought, yep, there he is.
Yep,
that's the truck driver. So I'm asking him this and that, and he said, "Yeah, I'm looking for something in Huntington, Indiana."
You're way off.
Yeah, I was like
5 hours south.
I said, "Well, you're not going to find that here because this is Huntingburg, Indiana." And he said, no, Huntington. And obviously this was not English was definitely his second language. And I said, no.
Third.
Yeah, or fourth. But I said, this is Huntingburg, Indiana. And the banner, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, right here, Huntingburg. And
Huntingburg.
Huntingburg Street Department. You know what I mean? I don't understand I guess it would be the same way if we went to
Now, don't get too hard on that because
Mogadishu
there's
or wherever we went.
Huntingburg,
Well, I'm just saying this feller might. I just
There's a daggone
purely
Huntingburg,
speculation, but I'm pretty sure he was.
not Huntingburg.
There
Express.
is no other Huntingburg in the world.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But there's like a Facebook group that's a Huntingburg like news thing. Like
Yeah.
Huntingburg.
Yes.
Anyway,
I'm
they
I'm
are
privy to it.
always posting jobs in Huntington.
Oh,
Like you'll see stuff there in Huntington, the address on US 31 North, like in Huntington. But they'll tell stories from Huntingburg, but then the little ads in there, the ad spaces will be for.
oh, so the algorithm's catching it wrong anyway.
Yeah.
So
So it's not just that little feller's fault from wherever.
On the flip side, I was over at Best Chairs one day, and the girls got a phone call in the office, and this driver was lost. And he was in Huntington, and he was trying to be in Huntingburg or Ferdinand. or
Oh,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is it's a wild state of affairs, but is there it's wild because Dad can damn near tell you about where everything is. You're probably about the same way.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's unreal. Like you'd mention a town. Hey, Dad, you ever heard of that? And if he doesn't know offhand, pulls the atlas out many times. Pulls the atlas out. Look at the index. Yeah, here it is. It's just right off it, and it's a
Yeah.
wild.
I think that one of the most innate skills that a truck driver has is being able to somehow, some way figure out how to get anywhere. Like if you had to go to Bismarck, North Dakota tomorrow, like you got to leave tomorrow, your life depended on it, and I just feel like somehow they would always
You'd probably
know.
it's like
Like
head west
it's
on
like
80.
you could just figure. Oh yeah, you just got to go up. Like we were talking about this.
I'd head through St. Louis and then north out of Kansas City, and then
Either way, that's what I'm saying. Like
I don't know. We
us-
could ask the professional which
us
route he would
people, we
rather
would just punch it in our phone
I'd
and just go
avoid
with
Chicago at all costs.
right. But I'm just
take. Well, you don't get into Chicago. It's South 80 South.
guys,
Plus, they got a great truck stop on 80.
guys.
World's biggest.
Modern day folk would just go beep boop on their iPhone
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and take them wherever they would go.
Yeah.
In the
Sometimes-
fastest fashion and the fewest.
Well, yeah, sometimes
detours
it's
and-
not always the best.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. But I feel like the old time truckers, the school, like your dad or Chuck, or
Yeah.
like my dad's not a trucker, but like been traveling for a
Well,
long time. But it's like you could figure it out.
yeah, and back then everybody ran CBs. That was your communication. It was
Exactly.
like your cell phones of today, basically, in a way. But you were asking other local drivers where something was
Yeah.
at, or
Makes
whatever.
sense.
You'd
You'd get to the
now
city and
nobody
then-
has CBs. They're always
Mine's right over. I just got mine out the other day. The old Cobra 40 over.
Right.
there.
Okay,
But
we
I'm
were.
going to get that out.
This
and I'm
was
gonna-
kind of joked around in the beginning of the show, and I said, "Wait a minute, we'll get to it."
Okay.
But now that we're here,
Now
I
I
think it's time.
Okay.
So you mentioned CBs and talking to local drivers and everything like that. What was your CB handle?
Well, I started out with Bushy Head because when I worked at Tartan Furniture, which is one of the Styline plants there off of 12th Street,
Yep.
this guy always called me Bushy Head because I had beard and long hair, Well, I got out on the road and started using, and I got called Pussy Head, so I, all right, we're going to change that. So I don't know why I came up with G-string one day, and because I'd never heard anybody else use it.
G string.
Yeah, but then years later, I heard this older guy have my dad went as Pappy on the radio, and this guy that I ran across, he was Pappy G-string.
Oh my God.
So your
But
dad.
yeah, I just came up with that name one day. And
So who'd
it
your dad
stuck.
drive for?
He started out there at Transmobile and stuff too, and then he went to Best Chairs and finished up there.
Yeah, that's
That's a family affair. You guys are all truckers.
Yeah.
That's wild. Now, did you guys have CBs in your pickups and shit too, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So that's how my grandpa Bill, he was always Splinter. Grandma was sawdust and Dad was something else because they were all cabinet makers, chair
Yeah.
makers, you know what I mean? Furniture guys. But my CB handle was Mimi. Have I ever told you this story?
Oh, no.
No.
I don't think so.
Do you remember so anytime anybody would show up to the mine, mostly like us whippersnappers, because that's what we communicated at the mine with CBs for the longest time. And these old heads, they would always say, like they'd have these list of questions called the interview type thing. And they was always like, what's your summertime fruit? What's your favorite summertime
Strawberries,
fruit?
for sure.
If you were a farm animal, what would it be and why?
Not a peach guy.
If you had to pick one fruit to shove up your ass, what would it be? And don't forget that watermelon is a fruit, stuff like that. Just trying to get you to catch, hiccup, and stuff.
Did you say watermelon?
No. I think
Looks
I
like
said
a pineapple guy.
I said a grape.
Cantaloupe.
But the other one is that they
Thick,
said,
veiny bastard.
have you ever tucked your junk between your legs and stood in front of the mirror to see what you look like as a woman? And I'm sure, as your son would probably remember, I had this coin trick that I would, call the mangina, which I was very good at doing that. I would tuck my
Nice tits too, I bet.
business in between my legs and make this like mangina looking thing. And this guy, this old head, he chimed in one day and he's like, how about he'd look like that fat bitch on the Drew Carey show? What was her name? Mimi.
Okay.
And there it was. 15 years. 15 years.
I didn't know that's how that came
Yeah.
about.
Still people to this day will refer, like people that I used to work with, like their kids or whoever will see me. Oh, Mimi. You know what I mean? And shit like that. But yeah, so I had a CB. My brother's handle was Moo Moo.
Yeah.
So I was Mimi and my brother was Moo Moo. What's Pat's handle? Does he have one?
4 eyes.
4 eyes. No shitter. That's cool, man.
I see. So Pat runs up to Paoli,
Yeah.
and so I know whereabouts. I meet him every day, either right there at the stoplight at the resort, or just a little bit south on 145 there, running through there. That's how I know where I'm at work wise.
How old did you? How long did you drive? When did you retire? What age?
67.
67.
Yeah.
How much is Pat along? I guess how much younger is Pat than you?
I think he's turning 66, 67 in March.
Yeah. Is he going to keep going for a while, or is he?
No, he's wanting to retire too.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how we've mentioned the boys and your wife. Like, you're gone a lot. What was that family? Because like some guys, not gonna get too. I mean, I don't want to talk about the bad stuff, but your wife has to be a saint to put up.
Oh,
with.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
She is.
That's the secret to a lot of this. But how did you balance that as a father? You're out all week, come home. Like, what was that like? Do you remember just kind of, did it always seem to kind of flow? And then like if you were home for a long time, did your wife like, you got to get the out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. when
That's how my dad
when I
was.
first retired, she goes, "You're gonna." Well, she was still working, so it wasn't so bad. But
So
then
she done at the school?
when she retired, then is you got to get out and get a job because the two of us can't be at the house at the same time.
My parents are really thick in that right now.
We've kind of mellowed into it a little
Yeah.
better, but still, yeah.
So have you thought about, buying the RV and just traveling, or you seen enough of the United States? You're happy being home?
Yeah, I'm just happy being where I'm at because we went out to his place here right for the Christmas holidays, and that's enough. You get out on the road and you see the idiots out there.
Oh,
It
I
just
bet,
drives you
man.
nuts.
Yeah.
Did you drive this time too, I guess?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What did you
And-
drive?
Huh?
What'd you drive?
My pickup.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean,
He got the old Cab Over International.
No.
Not just-
Yeah.
How many
For glory's
miles? How
sake.
many miles is it?
1,800 something.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
We're going to.
And it doesn't matter whether you go 70 out through Colorado and Utah and come down, or if you go down through Oklahoma and Texas,
New Mexico.
come back up out of Arizona. It's the same amount.
We're going to
miles.
Sedona in May, and we were going to RV
Mhm.
and rent one in
Smoke and I were going to go along for
Louisville, or I don't know if we were going to pick it up in Louisville or pick it up in St. Louis, one or the other. It would
Probably St. Louis.
And then, but it was,
Louisville would be the wrong way.
we shook it out, and it was around 1900 one way. And
Well, some of them,
and they charged 39 cents a mile.
yeah.
And then
Plus,
you got your fuel
you're-
fee and the
some of
rental.
them, you're only allowed to go so many miles in a day, too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
I kind of checked it out a little bit, you know.
The Ring family down the
But-
road, I believe it was the Rings. Yeah. Rings Records won, but they went out and got one. They drove to St. Louis, picked one up, and then went out to out by North Dakota, and all the
Yellowstone.
way out to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
They did the same thing.
We made that drive.
Yeah.
That's where you really know you're the son of a truck driver, when you get into suburban at about, he had it all timed out wise, you know, to miss the big metropolitan areas, you know, and we could just hop in the car and make a 33-hour car ride with 3 kids.
Yeah.
And then I thought as a kid, like, that's the worst. And now I've got the itch. Like, I want one of those Mercedes Sprinter vans where you can just go. I don't know. I love it. I love the open road. I love driving. Get in, sit down, shut up.
I
let's
like
roll.
it on a side-by-side.
Yeah, we know. You got Smoke's going to be the first million-mile guy on a. So let's-
Can-Am's going to buy that one back for more than I paid for.
yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's change gears. You're a big fan of the show. What? Why?
I don't know. You're funny as shit a lot of times. Other
He's
times,
funny looking.
a lot of times I'm scratching. Oh, what the hell are they even talking about?
Yeah.
Well, we wander a lot. But I mean,
Hence the name.
You know.
you've been from day one though, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just enjoyed it. That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean,
You
it's just
spend a
cool
lot of
thing.
time on YouTube?
Well, yeah. Have you ever
That's where
looked
you
at
watch
the
it
comment
at.
section? They're there. I do try to respond
Yeah.
to some of them.
I just saw the one the other day. How much you got to smoke to see that Minnesotan chef?
Oh yeah, I looked that up on the map. What the hell's he talking about? Then I saw what you were talking
Yeah.
about. And
I had never heard of that before in my
it
life.
seems like
man.
I'd heard that before once I looked at it, you know. But I got the chef part all the way down Louisiana, but then I thought, how the hell do you get a frying pan out of Tennessee? And
Well,
Yeah,
in
or the
Kentucky?
platter or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had
I mean,
no
that's
clue,
a
man.
stretch. But
It's not
Yeah.
perfect, but it's there.
Never heard.
well, the Colonel was in Kentucky, so
That's
Yeah.
true. What's you got any questions for us? I
Yeah.
mean, we've asked you a lot of questions. Anybody we've ever interviewed, we allow them to ask whatever they want to ask.
I don't know.
best interview ever.
No,
I
don't.
do have to say, hands down, this is probably the most active David Allen Smoker's ever been in an in-depth or an interview show.
Well, most of the time, I feel like we're interviewing somebody that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And not that I've met Chuck a whole lot of times.
You
met
know a
him,
lot
like,
about
twice.
hitchhiking and trucking, huh?
Well,
We're talking about that spirit.
Yeah.
how much did we talk about baseball or
Yeah,
the,
right.
the
That's true.
daggone, whatever you call that in college, and when the transfer portals,
NIL.
whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
I kind of skip over those episodes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
But now, my wife, she is a sports nut. I mean, she could tell you who this player is and that player
That's
is.
funny.
That's how my bride
Yeah.
is. She's all
Gosh.
that's where my kids got it from, and
I
I
could care
just
less, you know.
keep saying they got their brawn and athletic ability from me, obviously.
They're shitty looking shins.
Yeah.
Now, not to sound stereotypical, but you CW McCall guy, or were you ever?
Well, yeah, that whole CB era back
God
then,
dang.
you know.
Man, when I
just-
was in high school, that's all we just
it,
loved it.
Me,
that-
Sean
that was-
Bagley, because Rob he did a little trucking before. Did Sean's dad? I think he did. He drove a truck just a little bit before he went full time with the farm. Because
yeah,
Doc
I don't, offhand, I don't.
Doc and them were doing it, and because he had all that shit left over, so Sean had one in that old Ford he had, and then I put one in mine in that brown truck that I drove, and we would go to the I actually had one in that blue Buick I had first, and I had a magnet mount on the trunk
Yeah.
and ran it through
My
the
little wheel
floorboard.
stuck to the
Yeah, I had
to the roof
I had
of the
a
shop
hustler
right
on
now.
my hustler on mine, but we would go out to the interstate and just and drive from Huntingburg or from Dale to Linville and just go
Just play
back and
CB
forth.
tag.
Well, I
Like
don't know.
watching how much gain you was pulling on people that you knew how close they was getting.
Well, no, but you could tell on like how much gain they were pulling. But like we would just go out there and talk to them.
Oh,
we would
played
just
CB
just
tag.
run back and forth.
That was another thing when I first started driving and got a CB. You had to have a little FCC license.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, that was before they split off the ham stuff. Because see, back home,
Yeah.
across the road from Petro or or however the hell you say it,
Petro, yeah.
there's a guy you could go to and he'd tune and peak your CB up to where it wasn't legal to have.
That was
and
AJ's
you
and
could
Jasper.
Ping off a daggone clouds and
Did-
talk
Right.
to Australia.
Did you
if
ever go?
wanted
Did
to.
you ever go over there to AJ's and Jasper? Probably not. No, you were. Do you remember? You know where AJ's? What the hell is it called?
AJ's.
BJ's.
Oh, yeah.
BJ's.
Yeah.
BJ's.
I've
because
seen
they-
the sign somewhere.
Back there by J Chem, by the ice, by the
Yeah, back
ice
there by
plant,
the
by the
river.
ice plant. Yeah, but you could go to BJ's and he would sell. What the hell were those?
Crystals. It was. They put new crystals in them. They peak and tune. And
The
Yeah,
real hard,
well, no.
the real expensive CBs. What the hell were they? Not Cobras, but the General Lee was one. They had like different models,
yeah.
but they were like super expensive CBs. And Eric Scott bought one, and everybody thought that was the coolest shit because like the faceplate lit up and was
Well,
blue
yeah, there
and
was-
digital and all this shit.
There was guys back then that had, I forget what the heck. It was like a booster that they could hook up.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
There's a word for it, but I can't think of it offhand. But they'd stretch out an antenna. They'd talk any place. in
So
the United
when
States,
at the mine, we would always have to deal with skip land.
yeah.
Like the guys that were speaking on skip land.
Oh yeah, you could always hear the Cadillac man out of
we
down
had
around El Paso.
squirrel.
Come on, let's
brain-
go over to Mexico.
Squirrel brains was this guy, and he was honestly in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and he would always say audio, and he was just watching his gain and dial just kind of peaking and shit. And then I think a lot of those dudes were now as a ham radio. Can you pick up ham skip off of
I don't think so because on ham you're supposed to be on a different frequency than you're on the Citizens Band 40 channel. But I
Right.
think that if you've got a ham setup, you can probably dial yourself into that.
But these skip land guys would have they were obviously running base stations. All of them were like in their house
Yeah.
and shit like
Well,
that. You know what I mean? But
some of the guys in their trucks had stuff set up that get out all over the place too.
no shit.
Rather than make a phone call at home, they'd
Ping the
set
base
their-
station.
Call their old lady or whoever.
fire up the
big
booster and
big rig.
whatever, and you.
So we
all
would
the way
always
back
run
home.
like we would run on channel 2. We'd run on channel 25. We'd run different channels.
Right.
With different pits and shit. And we could be like bleed over. You know what I mean? Like if you were running on if you found a trucker that you was kind of running the same route with and you wanted to
Right.
bullshit with them, you'd jump off of 19 and go down to 5 or
Well,
hey, kick her up 5 or
Right.
hey, take her down 3 or whatever.
yeah,
you
back
know?
when I started, the trucker channel was 10,
Okay.
and there was only 23. There wasn't 40.
Right.
So
So yeah, so like if you were on 10 and somebody said, "Hey, kick her up 2 or whatever,"
right.
and then you'd go up and
Here's what we're going to do.
yeah,
When I say we're going to go to channel 5, we ain't
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
channel
yeah,
5.
yeah.
We're going to channel 3. And when I say we're going to channel 3, we get done. We ain't going to 3. No,
Right.
we're going to 7.
we would do that shit all the time.
Or every time we get off, we can go down 2 and start from there. Yeah, that worked too, I guess.
So we would do that same shit at the mine.
Smokey and the Bandit.
So our boss couldn't bird dog us and hear us talking. But if you were too close to him, they'd bleed over.
He'd
So
find
that-
you anyway.
So this skip land would be so bad some days in the summer. It had a lot to do with
Atmosphere.
yeah,
Atmosphere.
100%. And like
hazy day, my buddy could pick up a guy from Australia.
the
there as well.
goddamn skip was so bad sometimes that it would bleed over, and they would walk on us, and we were 200 yards apart.
Right.
Like just such powerful shit.
Then you
know?
had guys on sideband. and
Yep.
that'd bleed over.
Yep, that's the sideband stuff. That's this CB stuff that you could buy at BJ's. These super fancy ones, they had sidebands also. What the hell was that? You plug it in your coax, and then you plug your other end into your whip, and then like you key your mic. And then like you could adjust it and all
to
that.
tune your
Yeah,
antennas.
I had that because I always ran fire sticks.
Yeah.
Your
And they-
SWR meter.
SWR meter, standing wave. Yeah. And you could you pop them red caps off your fire sticks and you could trim it down and all that shit. Grandpa Bill would always give me a line.
See, I just always ran a magnetic Lil Will there.
Right, which it's fine, but I ran dual whips.
I think I'm going to
had
put dual
fires.
whips on the old Can-Am there. That's where I think I'm going to put the CB is in.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
I'll get one in mine. We always ran unit in 510s at the mine.
Well, mine's sitting right there. I don't know if it's a unit in or not. But
I think it's probably that's the most common one. They're cheaper and shit now. Like you can get a unit.
Jenna was so proud. I remember when I went and bought it from some feller off of the Hoosier Topics up in Brazil. She's like, "What do you need a CB radio for?" And I had
a Cobra
hanging from
20.
the
Was it
ceiling.
what were they 29s? Cobra 29s?
That might be a 29 over there.
So Grandpa Bill gave me a Cobra 29, and then I was really shitting and talking because I got the Cobra 40 with the PA switch.
Now, see, I had
and I
a
had
PA.
a PA.
on
Hey,
my
baby, we'll
unit.
be back to pick you up later.
That's right. Yeah, we would always do the cop thing, you know. Yeah, we'd do that shit all the
My
time. And
unit in back in high school had the PA.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Strobe. Oh God, dang!
gets
my
me
kid
fired
needs
up
a
too.
CB.
I love it.
All right, fellas. It's
What you
time
got? What you got?
for the Merkley and Sons Choice Cut Questions of the
Oh,
Week.
gosh.
Brought to you by Merkley and Sons.
Listen, January is all about making and likely breaking New Year's resolutions. One New Year's resolution that you won't break is making sure that Merkley & Sons is your family's official provider for quality cuts of meat and other products you need for your family in 2025. Merkley & Sons is right here in our backyard and is a family operation that you know and you trust. Make sure Merkley & Sons is a stop on the shopping list every time you're out getting the groceries. They are the ultimate destination for meat enthusiasts for a reason.
All right, we'll go around the table starting with you, Chuck. First question. What's the longest stretch you've ever driven without stopping?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. It'd probably be, a couple days, maybe even. I don't know. Or well,
You can
With
hold
this-
your piss that long?
well, no. You said without stopping.
You just
I-
piss in a bottle.
Yeah, no, I never did that.
Did you not?
No, I always stopped and
Took a piss. Yeah.
jumped out of the truck or something.
There's a real
you know.
thing called trucker's bladder, by the way.
But yeah.
I don't know what the medical term for it is.
Well-
but it's a real thing.
Some of the old DMI drivers, they had a funnel and a tube running out because you had a side vent down here
Oh,
by,
yeah.
by the door.
Yeah.
And they'd run a tube out there, and they just keep going.
That's when you
but-
ran 2 or 3 different logbooks.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
at
I'm
least.
going to have to
But-
ask old Papa Frank about that DMI trick.
Yeah.
He may listen to this and probably know some guys that did that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he does. But I don't know. I can't think of it.
Yeah.
I'd say probably a couple 100 miles or more.
So you're talking probably 4 or 5 hours,
Yeah.
6.
Back in the younger days. No,
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
2 hour and a half, 2 hours down the road, depending on how much coffee.
Yeah. Smoke Dragon?
Probably, somewhere in there, 5 or 6 hours. I feel like we got through Amarillo. We stopped in Texas, on the west side of Texas. I remember stopping in New Mexico to take a piss and watching the sun come up, and I think we drove pretty near straight through to Flagstaff, Arizona. No, we stopped in Lake Havasu, and then anyway, probably 6-ish.
I can't. The mind ruined me. When I have absolutely, I mean, I'm not incontinent. Like, I'm not going to piss in my pants if I don't stop. But when we had to piss, you just stopped and pissed. Like, you didn't have, like, my wife always tells me you are such a bitch because you can't hold your pee. And now, I do take blood pressure medicine, which makes me have to pee a lot.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't help.
I can't go, I mean, I can drive to Louisville and not stop. I could drive to Indy and not stop. 3 hours, probably the most, I would say.
I'm probably in that because Grand Rapids was about a 7-hour trip, and I would piss in the bottle and stretch it out as far as I could. So I could probably do 6 or 7 without stopping.
God, when I worked at Nancy Bear, this guy we were wheeling freight, And the truckers for Nancy Bear, they're over the road guys. They'd come in the back, to clean their trucks out and shit. And there'd be this half dumpster, and it would be full of it was
Piss
like
bottles?
half-gallon milk jugs.
Yeah.
And this guy would always come up on the dock, and he'd have like a coat hanger with 2 or 3 of them on there, and he'd say, "Piss for sale."
Okay.
Oh,
Partially filled half-gallon jugs of piss for sale, and it would just be the nastiest shit you ever seen. I don't get it. I mean, obviously you want
100% drug free.
yeah, right. Yeah, you want to try to get as many miles out, because when you're getting paid, you're getting paid.
Oh,
But
God.
good grief.
Yeah.
Favorite truck stop food?
Boy. I would say probably back in the day was I think it was called a Manhattan. I'm not sure. It was an open face roast beef
Yeah,
sandwich.
that would be Manhattan.
And
Mashed potatoes, gravy on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Up there in Brazil, there's a truck stop on the side of I-70, and you go there and get your breakfast, and they had something they called the top hat, but it was pretty near everything on the menu just stacked on top of one another, and that would be it.
Let's take a little trip down memory lane here, boys.
So they're rapid fire questions.
Take a trip down here to the old 231 truck stop and get us
biscuits and gravy.
18-wheeler. Get us the 18-wheeler down there. And that's
I gotta
what-
say, probably like a good old country fried steak or something along those lines.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy was a pretty good staple too.
Best truck brand: Peterbilt, Kenworth, Freightliner, International.
Oh well. If I had my druthers, Peterbilt, but like I said, Internationals was mostly what I drove, and then you had the one stack Mac with the window in the back, and
Hell yeah.
I'm kind of indifferent on it, but I'd probably go Mac because I stole it. I didn't steal it. It was okay for me to take, but I knew a guy that worked at MacDale Trucking, and they did like tanker cleaners, and he gave me one of them Mac dogs, and I put him on Ford Ranger.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
What did the eyeballs light up?
Nope. It was just a standard unit.
I have never really done any open road trucking, but I did drive a Mack fuel truck and a binder, and then I also drove a Western Star.
Oh,
But,
okay. High class.
The Western Star was kind of a shit junk because it was a push button automatic, and I like cramming gears in that old Mack. So yeah,
I like Sites Trucking. They run those old Pete's like that.
Yeah.
them lowbrow Pete's.
I love the look of those things.
Yeah,
Love
those
them.
are cool.
Most scenic highway you've ever driven on? Don't need necessarily be a specific road, but maybe there's an area of country that you just love driving through.
Just about any place out west for the most part. But then again, delivering furniture, you got out on the back roads of Missouri and Arkansas and
Yeah.
Kentucky, Tennessee, and Michigan, Wisconsin. They're just, you'd run across stuff that wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just on the back roads mostly, would be pretty good.
I-70 in Utah was weird because I didn't realize how many different climate's not the word, but they got mountains, they got plains looking areas, they got deserty looking shit. There's just you can see it all there on I-70 in Utah. Like there's a whole lot of different changes in
You got the
scenery.
the kind of like the painted desert or whatever, the sandstones and all that stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know. Up in the mountains in North Carolina, when Justine and I went to Maggie Valley, you guys see that freezing fog that happened the other day, just yesterday morning, and all the trees and shit turned real white? We went up to in Maggie Valley, up in the mountains in North Carolina. Was that 2 years ago for our anniversary? I guess
Maybe 3.
And we had to deal with that freezing fog up there, and man, them roads were skinny as a rail and just curvy as shit going straight up, and that freezing fog on the trees, that was beautiful. I don't know what road it was, but that was really neat.
Down at the house the other day when it cleared off the one day and the sun was setting and we had the ice on.
Oh,
the trees. My one tree up in the backyard, the sun was turning orange. It looked like it had orange LED lights.
No shit.
In the limbs up there.
Wow.
You see stuff like that out on the road too.
Yeah.
I always Pennsylvania in the fall when the leaves are turning. I always said it was like driving through a bowl full of tricks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you had
Colors.
all different colors, and you're up on them mountains sometimes.
Oh,
and
wow.
you could see down on top of the trees.
Hell
and
yeah.
stuff. It was
That's
pretty-
cool as shit.
The
Stuff like that.
northern Michigan, and then along like the Michigan coastline, that drive up out of Denver headed to like Jackson Hole, and then like Jackson Hole into Grand Tetons. Like I don't know what that highway stretch is, and then you get into the southern gate entrance of Yellowstone. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Worst road condition experience.
When you come across black ice, my wife says there's no such thing, but
It's a real thing.
yeah,
I've got a story about it.
I've-
We'll talk about it.
I've hit it, a couple times. Sometimes, well, whenever I had CBs, you sometimes you get a warning before you,
Oh yeah, mile marker here
But-
or whatever. Yeah.
just whenever it gets nasty out like this and stuff,
Yeah.
that's some of the worst times.
I guess 2003 or 4, it was that winter. In the Christmas break, there was a big snow, and I left home in Richmond, rode with a feller I met at VU that also went to VU from my neck of the woods. Normally it's a 3.5 hour drive to get to VU from Richmond, and it took us 6 hours or better, knocking on 7 just to get back. And it just dumped snow the whole time down there. But that was a slow rolling.
Nothing really comes to mind other than like torrential downpours, driving and shit like that. Like whenever the interstate's pretty much to a standstill, driving and it's all from Huntingburg from Huntingburg, Indiana on Highway 64 between here and Francisco, Indiana. I drove that route every day for 8 years, I guess. And like tornado weather, you know what I mean? Like there's nowhere to go. Like
Right.
you're either Oakland City to Arthur, you're Huntingburg to Arthur, from Arthur to Oakland City, and from Oakland City to Frisco. There's really nothing there. So, I don't know. Nothing really I've always had a 4-wheel drive, so I never really had to worry about the snow too much.
That trip from La Porte after the wedding down in this snowstorm when we hit 465 sideways, where a 5-hour drive was a 12-hour day. That one probably was not a good idea. Day driving or night driving?
As you guys say, it's situational,
Oh, looky there.
Yeah, I learned a new word. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But out west, when you're in Arizona, New Mexico, the best time is at night because the stars just
Unreal.
have
Yeah.
I can only
the
imagine.
sky lit up, and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's daytime's just as neat too. Sometimes I was coming back east. We were all the way on the very southern end of New Mexico, Arizona on I-10, and I was driving at the time, and it was starting to get daylight, and the stars seemed to get brighter for some reason, and all of a sudden it started getting lighter from the sun starting to come up. These big old cactus out in the desert. You just think, what the hell are those giant things out there? You look like giant people, because
Yeah.
they stand out there like this, and you're like, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Or then you'd see shooting stars and stuff like
Oh,
that.
man. I can
and-
only imagine.
and-
They don't
and-
call that big sky country for nothing.
Yeah,
there, man.
Well, that's Montana.
Well, either
Okay.
way, wherever it is.
One of the best times at night, I was headed out towards St. Louis and across the bottoms out there in Illinois, and it was late at night, early in the morning, and there's meteor shower going on,
Oh, that's cool.
and this shooting star was one of the best I ever saw. It changed colors from the time I saw it till the time it disappeared. It went from say white to blue to green. It was about 2 or 3 different colors before
Heck
it
yeah.
disappeared.
That's
So
awesome.
you see stuff like that. And then
That's cool.
we went to Colorado one time with the boys for vacation. We were coming back, and the Northern Lights lit up the border of Kansas. And I pulled over and I woke these yahoos up, and I said, look, boys, check this out. It's the Northern Lights, I mean, it was greens and reds. It really lit it up, And I think Logan said, "Oh, Dad, we'll see that when rah, 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 we're young yet or some shit." I said, "I'm 40 something. This is the best I've ever seen it."
Yeah.
No shit.
Smoke Dragon?
Probably daytime anymore. I feel like at night my eyes get all up with the headlights.
I can't.
Yeah,
I can't drive at night.
these stupid people with their headlights.
Oh, we talked
and-
about it a few episodes ago.
Yeah,
It's unreal. I do, like, when we're doing that long haul trip down there, that swamp in Florida, I love leaving at night. It just, the kids sleep. They're able to just stay down pat and make it work. Couple more must-have snack for a long haul.
I don't know. Chips and a beer.
I don't know that I got to go to. Kind of depends
Yeah,
on the weather.
Sunflower seeds and beef jerky.
Situational for me. Because, that'd dry me out. I have to be drinking water. And,
Yeah, I don't like to drink.
that is. We'll make this the last one. Preferred coffee. You like a good old-fashioned truck stop brew or these automatic machines they got nowadays?
No, it's, one that's brewed up into a glass container,
Same.
Yeah,
hot and black.
Me too.
That's where I'm at too. Hey, that is the Merkley and Sons Choice Cut questions of the week for the fellas, brought to you by Merkley and Sons. Well, we've gone long enough, probably longer than what Chuck thought we would. But it's time for one last trip around the table for some final thoughts, brought to you by Love Excavating.
If you have a driveway that is rock like Esquire's, you know this freeze, thaw, and rain is detrimental to the cause. You know who can help you fix your driveway? Love Excavating. Love Excavating can provide a plan to help redirect water flow down your driveway and put the proper drainage in to help it keep from water collecting. Love Excavating can also smooth out your driveway, haul in gravel that you so desperately need, and make sure that your driveway isn't one that people will complain about. Give them a call today. Your driveway, your spouse, and your guests will all thank you.
All right, Chuck, what you got? Final thoughts? Anything?
I don't know. Enjoy life. That's all. Get out, hitchhike across America. What they all.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Chuck, thanks for joining us. It's been a long time coming. I know we talked about it, or we have talked about it, and there's been some YouTube comments, and we bumped into you at the Gaslight
Yeah.
a year ago or so. So I'm glad we finally got to make it happen. So hell of a way to kick off 2025.
Big fella.
Oh, okay. It's my turn. Yeah, same thing, man. Chuck, I've known you for a long time. Kind of grew up with Jimmy and playing football and everything like that. You've always been one of my favorites for sure. And, and your wife, Jerry, she's always a sweetheart. And I think her sister was one of my first pen pals when she lived in
Ann?
Ann. Yeah, when she lived out in
Japan?
Huh?
Japan?
Yeah, there, and how she moved everywhere. And she came in for one day when Jerry was like a teacher's aide in fifth grade or something like that. I'm not sure. And I met her, and I was obviously the talker of the class, you know what I mean? And she took a liking to me, and I told her, she said, well, you should be my pen pal. And I was like, yeah, I'll be your pen pal. So we swapped letters for a while, and I always thought that was really neat, getting a letter in the mail from Japan or wherever the hell she was.
Now she lives out around Aspen, Colorado.
Right, so
Salt,
just cool shit like that. And awesome that you got to come over and hang out, and appreciate your support all this time, and stay weird, man. I get a kick out of it, and hopefully one of these days I'll get to I don't know if you just guys,
you'll grow up and be just like me. Is what you're trying to do.
Like if a guy can experience half the shit that you old bastards have done in your day, then we'll be doing good.
Go.
So welcome to the lounge, and glad you got to stop by, man.
Yeah,
Could you imagine having old Chatty Cathy for a pen pal be a 15-page letter.
Well, no, I never could write good. So
Oh,
that was always short and
limited.
sweet. What you got there,
Chuck,
Princess?
well, just a couple things. Of course, big thanks to Love Excavating and our buddies over there at Merkley and Sons. We appreciate their support this month of January. Chuck, appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. You're part of that old soul of this community and the truck driving element. I'm the son of a truck driver. I love it. There's a lot of things about it. I've learned a lot of things. My dad's taught me as much crap as I get for being this white collar Esquire desk jockey. He's taught me a lot of things about on the road and driving and navigational stuff and things that, I love. And when we get in the car and we get going and my wife's like, why are you like this? And I'm a son of a truck driver. I wear it very proud, but I appreciate it because those old stories, we can bring Papa Frank in here and
Oh God,
he could
we
probably let loose a few of those
go
things
for a week.
too. Yeah, he probably would. Well, he wouldn't want to talk that long, but just appreciate you coming on and supporting the show,
Yeah, no
of
problem.
course. And
Thanks for having me.
always love having interesting conversations, and that's what this show is all about. So, with that said, fellas, take us out.
Dutchman out.
Toodaloo, buckaroos.